Hey, world, what's going on? This is your girl, Queen Aishah, and thank you so much for joining me for another dope episode of I Know Dope People with Queen Aishah. My guest today is industry exec Keith Lawson, and he is the man behind the curtain. He is a Baltimore, Maryland native, and we're going to get into it with Mr. Lawson. Before we do so, I'm going to share some Queens quickies with you. So if you haven't already, make sure you like, subscribe, and share, comment, all of that stuff. We love to hear from you. We want to send our condolences to the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. family on the passing of his youngest son, Dexter King. He passed away this past Monday, a week after his dad's birthday and a week before his 62nd birthday due to prostate cancer. And he leaves behind his wife, Leah Weber. So we send our condolences to the King family. I also want to share with you that film producer, filmmaker Dawn Potter directed the Luther Vandross documentary, Luther, Never Too Much. And it appeared at Sundance Film Festival this past, I think it was on Monday, January 21st to rave reviews. I had a pleasure of meeting Mr. Luther Vandross on 93.9 WKYS when I worked there in the early 2000s. I got my pictures to get my bragging rights. We got my bragging rights. Katanya, put my picture up. Put my picture up. Katanya, you hear me? You got my picture of Luther. Ooh. I'll find my picture. I don't know where Katanya at, but I'm gonna put my picture up. I think she hating. We're gonna put my picture up. Where's Luther? Me and Luther right here. That was in the early 2000s. It was so cool. Of course, I got starstruck, but he was very cool, very nice. Okay, and Spelman College, they received an awesome donation of $100 million from a billionaire couple out of the Michigan area, Mrs. Rhonda Straker and her husband, William Johnston of Michigan. And they also gave $30 million to Spelman College in 2018. This is the largest gift of a living donor in the institution's history. So that's really dope. Also, I want to shout out my niece, Naya Sky Hogans, who is the founder of Sky Level Media. It's an independent outlet. She does news, entertainment news, branding management, event planning, and all. They wrote an article on her with the bowlmaven.com. So check it out. And she will be on the show on February 20th. So you know that it is Super Bowl season. Do you smell it? Super Bowl 58. I didn't even know my Roman numerals up that high, the L, the V, and the three I's. I had to look it up. I was like, oh, I don't know that. But if you don't know, the Super Bowl is going to be in Las Vegas, Nevada for the first time, which is surprising. Everything goes down to Vegas. So this is the first time it happens on February 11th. And the Super Bowl halftime show, which is the show of all shows, the talk of the town for the year everyone looks forward to. And if you don't know, Usher is the entertainer for the halftime show. Of course, you know he's going to have many surprises. I expect Jermaine Dupri, Ludacris, and Lil Jon to make appearances. The show will be about 12 to 15 minutes. It should start around 8 or 8:15. And this is a sneak peek of what I believe the guesstimate set list will be. Of course, Confessions Part 2, Without You, featuring David Guter, My Way, Love in the Club, and his new song, Good, featuring Summer Walker and 21 Savage, Risk It All, featuring her, Oh My God, You Remind Me, featuring Lizzo, the flute solo, and yeah, Lil Jon and Ludacris. So maybe we'll get those songs and performances, and we never know who else may pop up. All right, so thank you. Real quick birthday shout outs. January has given me the birthday list life. Okay, January. Again, civil rights leader Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday was on the 15th. Dexter King birthday again will be on the 30th. Happy birthday to my sister Masada, my nephews Kareem, Christopher Kamani, my girl Lisa, Dr. Safia Delila, Hoskins, Leslie, Queen Julie King, Kareem, Papa Patrick, and all my people. If I forgot you, you know I love you. Happy birthday. I'm over the Capricorns and Aquarius people. Enjoy your birthday. Blessings on blessings to you. All right. So coming up now is our guest. I'm so happy to have Mr. Keith Lawson on. So me and Keith, we actually know one another through his big sister, Queen Julie King. Okay, and actually he hired me for some Pizza Hut BET Her vignettes in 21 and 22. He'll correct me if I'm wrong, or 20 and 21. So he's seen me with the hair, the color, the shortness, now the silver and gray. Hey, Keith. And he's going to be discussing his experiences and connections for his book. He is the author of the Man Behind the Curtain. He's been in the entertainment industry for over 30 years. And just the people that he's come in contact with, he still works with, the careers that he's been very instrumental in helping to direct and form of entertainers that we like and love. Please welcome Mr. Keith Lawson.
Hello. How's everybody doing?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Lawson, for joining us. So here's the funny thing. When I say 30 years, then I was looking at your pictures online. I was like, so he's Julie's little brother. He's been in the industry for 30 years. I was like, he don't even look 35. How can that be?
Oh, stop it. Yeah. If you're using Julie as a comparison, Julie is part vampire. So, nobody ever knows how old Julie is. So I guess I have a little bit of that.
You be killing them in the streets, okay? Welcome to I Know Dope People with Queen Aishah. I appreciate you stopping by and your yes.
All right. Yes, of course.
So we're going to get started. You're from Baltimore, Maryland.
Yes, I am.
And tell us how you got started in the entertainment industry.
How did I get started? So that's actually a perfect question, because that's really a big part of the narrative of my book, The Man Behind the Curtain. Is because I was always a STEM kid, so I grew up, science, technology, math, all of that, and I went to the University of Maryland as a Benjamin Banneker Scholar, which is basically an honors engineering scholarship. So I was at University of Maryland College Park when I met my good friend Billy Woodruff, who's also going in. Billy, for folks who don't know, who are not like as deep in the industry as us, Billy has been directing for years. He's done like 10 or 12 movies. He's directed Black Lightning and, Vampire Diaries, Empire, Star, plus Honey 2, on top of like 100 music videos. But when I met him at Maryland, and we were both students, and he was always clear he was going to be in the entertainment industry. I had no idea. So he kind of just dragged me along and started introducing me into some stuff, and it eventually clicked. And it's been no looking back since.
That's awesome. So you go from STEM to entertainment, but I believe that you were able to use that in entertainment as well, right?
Yeah,
some of your STEM learning.
Yeah, I mean, a good portion of the whole engineering discipline is about problem solving and how to think. So it's not necessarily, obviously there are specific things that you have to learn in engineering, but I feel like they really trained us to think and problem solve, which in entertainment and in production specifically is very healthy. I mean, it's a healthy skill to have. So one of the ways that I really got involved when Billy started dragging me onto music video sets is just problem solving and figuring out ways to accomplish things. And of course, the math and technology part is good. There's audio engineering, all this stuff is engineering.
Yeah, so that was nothing to you. So when a situation came up, you was like, oh, I got that. I know how to do that.
Yeah, I didn't know I knew how to do it, but over time, it growing confidence and realizing that, like, look, it ain't like this whole room full of people, ain't like they all smarter than me, so I can figure this out. So, it came naturally, and really, like I said, the journey of this book is that I've always had some level of music and entertainment, etc., in my nucleus, like sort of circling me and me not noticing that it was there. So it's been a thing that the universe has been saying, hey, over here, this thing that's been here your whole life. What about this? Where I was thinking like, oh, there was one way to do this. And, hopefully people will learn. And as I have, that there's no one specific way to walk this path of life. It happens how it happens.
Mhm.
Each person's journey is their own journey. So, you know, I figured it out over time. Like my dad was a singer, I had singers in the family and all of this stuff, which I sort of talk about in the book. And I just kept ignoring it. I did it in my
Mhm.
spare time. I was a DJ, I was a dancer, I did all this stuff
Okay.
that I did in my spare time that I never thought would be things that I could do for a career. And, look at me now. So,
Right. So when I was looking through the book, I saw that your dad was part of the group The Plants out
yeah.
of Baltimore.
Out of
So
Baltimore, yeah.
you said you were a DJ and you were a dancer. You was a backup dancer.
No, I was lead.
You was the
I was
lead
a lead
lead. But see, you're
dancer.
right. It's so many great dancers out of Baltimore, right? Everybody
Yeah.
is the lead. When I watch that new dance that they're doing, Park High, I'll be like,
Oh, the Park House struck.
can I tell you,
Park House shuffle.
I was up till like 1 this morning watching, and every time I saw it, just makes me smile. It just make like
It's so Baltimore. It is so
it's. But
Baltimore.
here I'm gonna share this little secret. So the first time I did Apollo amateur night on a
Uh-huh.
Wednesday night, I got beat out by Baltimore dancers, not singers.
Oh,
Singers
wow.
beat everybody out. I was like, I'll take that. I'll take that.
Mhm.
It's Baltimore, and that was in the night.
Wow.
Yes,
Listen.
yes. So that's awesome. So it's the music is in you. So you doing the
Yeah.
STEM and getting the engineer and the mathematics and the science and all that, it all gelled together. What's
Yep.
really awesome is that you and Billy met in school and y'all
Yep.
continued. He dragged you along through entertainment, and then you all started doing like unique things as far as your marketing and
Hmm.
creating different branding and stuff. And that went
Yeah.
over super well for you. So tell
Yeah.
us about that experience and how that started and grew.
So like I said, when I met Billy, we were in a dining hall at University of Maryland College Park, and Billy's a feisty little dude. He was about to get in a fight with a football player who I happened to know, and I was like, "Hey, don't do that!" And he turned around like he's ready to fight me too. I was like, "Hey, no, we're good. He's just being silly. Let's just,
Mhm.
don't do that. Not worth it." But he was real clear that he wanted to be in entertainment and
Mhm.
TV, so he came to Maryland with the idea that he was going to end up at BET. Again, I'm
Mhm.
still doing engineering, so I'm like, okay, that's nice and everything. So he started at BT. Then he started doing um, video press kits, which was really big back. They
Mhm.
don't do them as much
Mhm.
now, but it was a really
Mhm.
big thing. But it was a great entree to being able to do music videos. So we started getting,
Mhm.
like small artists and being able to
Mhm.
do music video press kits. And
Right.
one of the artists he got early on was In Vogue. So he got to do a press
Mm.
kit for In Vogue, and they loved him so much that they asked if he could do their video.
Wow.
Label was like, I don't know. He ain't never done nothing, so we're not gonna give him the video. And the video was Hold On. It turned out to be Hold On. Well, if
Wow.
you know, In Vogue was one of their biggest hits. So he didn't get to do the video, but it did introduce him to some label folks who started giving him
Mhm.
smaller artists. And he started,
Mhm.
bringing me to be a PA just to help out and do whatever, figure
Mm.
it out. So that's
Mhm.
sort of how I got started. And he was at BET. He started doing shows. He started executive producing shows. He was just a ball of creativity. And folks started seeing me around there and started, hey, what do you do? And eventually ended up getting offered a job on Video Soul just because I knew I
Mm.
knew videos
Donnie
and the music and
Simpson.
stuff. Yep.
Donnie Simpson.
Yep.
My dad got BET when it came to his city in New Jersey. He got it because I talked about Donnie Simpson so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Donnie's a great guy. Great guy.
He does not
I
age.
wouldn't be here. He was one of the people that allowed me to be able to develop and get to where I am
Beautiful.
now because they let me write, they let me come up with story
Mm.
ideas, and eventually started producing the show, and on it went. So,
And you're award-winning producer and content creator for over 25 years. You've won the Telly Awards and different awards throughout the
yeah.
industry. So you be doing it. You be trying to lay back like you chill, but you getting it and have
I
gotten
got
it.
tellies. I got tellies and use it as door stops right now, but that's it.
You know, disrespectful.
I was like, what am I gonna do with this one? I don't know. It don't fit on the shelf, but it'll hold this door. No, that's not true. I mean, I love the Telly organization. They've been supportive from way on. And for folks who really don't know the industry, Tellys are really like commercial design awards. And I
Mhm.
also have design awards. So it's like commercial
Mm.
awards. I got
Mm.
music, use of
Mm.
graphics. I have BDA awards for design, et cetera, as well as some Rosebud Film Awards and some other things. So, you know, well, if you work long enough, hopefully you'll start to see the rewards of it if you're doing good work. So, to be able to be in a business for 30 years, hopefully somebody thinks I know what I'm doing. So, hopefully, you know, the awards line up with some of the things that I've done.
Yes, and also, and we're just getting started, but the biggest thing is about relationships.
Oh,
The
for
one
sure.
thing is about relationships, because as
For
we
sure.
go through, and it's like, for those that
Mhm.
do not know, around the world, like DC, Maryland, Virginia, Baltimore, Maryland has a lot of talent, whether they're in
Mhm.
front of the camera, behind the camera, writing, whatever they're
Yep.
doing. And you've touched so many of them just over your 30-year span. Like, and I
Yep.
was, so we all know like Ananda Lewis. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh
Yep.
my God. And just reading the book, and I was like, you had such a big part. You were such a big instrumental in her
Yep.
career. She went from BET to MTV to her own talk show. So tell us
Yep.
about how that came about with Ananda.
Yeah, you know what's funny? She's actually the reason that I really sat down to do this book. Because over my career, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I'll tell stories about things that have happened and people that I've
Mm-hmm.
met, and folks are always like, "You should write a book." And I
Mm-hmm.
always say, "Yeah, I'm gonna do that someday." Never really putting a timeline on it to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things I've been saying lately is my little catchphrase is, you know, you keep saying you're gonna do things someday, and eventually someday
Mm-hmm.
has to turn into today. So,
Mm-hmm.
and that moment happened with me over COVID. Um,
Okay.
Incidentally, today is my mom's, would have been my mom's 83rd birthday. So happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday
heavenly
to your
birthday to my
mom.
mom.
Yes.
But my mom passed right before COVID. And
Mm-hmm.
right in that period, everything was changing. And there was so much
Mm-hmm.
of what you're used to thinking is your norm that just automatically just flipped on its head.
Mm-hmm.
So I started thinking like I don't have forever to get to these things that I'm going to do. So you know that's really what started it. But the Ananda
Mm-hmm.
story. So my barber Wes Williams, amazing barber who I've had for probably 20 years. But if you know the Baltimore, not the Baltimore, the black barbershop experience, you know when
Mm-hmm.
you go to a black barbershop, it's more than just about getting your hair cut. There's stories, there's people selling
Therapy,
wigs, whatever.
music,
But
everything.
but but
Fish sandwiches.
yeah, right. But Wes is always he's always saying the craziest things, and him knowing me and seeing some of the people that I worked with knew I had
Mm-hmm.
worked with Nanda, and
Mm-hmm.
we were at his shop. I was waiting to get my hair cut, and I picked up an Essence magazine, and she was on the cover, and
Wow.
he's like, "Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's Nanda. That's your people." Like yeah, and I started reading the story, and the short of it is, someone asked how she got started, and she
Mm-hmm.
said. You know, a friend of mine told me about an audition at BET, and I went and did the
Mm-hmm.
audition, and the rest is history. Now, that's fine if you don't know the backstory. The
Mm-hmm.
backstory was, you know, West was like, "Oh wow, she didn't mention you at all. You really the man behind the curtain. People don't even know who you are." And I'm like, laugh, but it was
Wow.
really like a stab because for me, like when I met Ananda, she wasn't on TV yet, and
Mm-hmm.
we actually, my partner and I, negotiated her deal,
I
got her
saw
to
that. Mm-hmm.
audition, you like helped her with a reel, you know, all these things to get her to put her in place to do that. So
Mm-hmm.
we really, really created that
Mm-hmm.
opportunity for her and managed her. Literally, I have the receipts,
Mm-hmm.
like she was signed and did not even get mentioned. So at that point, I said, you know, I wonder how many other folks, you know, no shade, but just wondering how many other folks we have touched and helped, whatever, that people don't even know that me, myself, my partners have touched. And I
Mm-hmm.
started recounting stories. And when I got to about 13 stories, it's like, oh, I do have a.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what really started the book. And really, the name, The Man Behind the Curtain, I'll
Mm-hmm.
give that to Wes.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, yeah, you really back there. Nobody know, like, because you know, you work with Jamaicans, you work with Born Jamaican,
Mm-hmm.
the big group.
Right. Mm-hmm. I remember.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Chucky Thompson, who got his break after working on the Born Jamaican album, which I executive
Mm,
produced.
wow. And
Uh,
see, I thought he got it from Puffy, from the
well, yes. So
Bad Boys. Mm-hmm. I know.
there's a story in there, a chapter called "Puff Wants to Talk to You," which is
Mm-hmm.
about Chucky because we had our big record, the biggest record the Jamaicans had, which was approaching gold, and
Mm-hmm.
Diddy called Chucky to say, "Hey, you putting out these hits? Why don't you come make some hits for me?" So that's how
Mm-hmm.
we got from working
Mm-hmm.
out of his mother's basement and selling tracks for $500
Mm-hmm.
to being part of the Bad Boy family. And that's an interesting story. I won't tell you the whole story, but it ended up
I saw it and
Puff
how he
called
felt.
me.
He
Yeah,
did his
Puff
deal.
called me and like swole up on me. He swole up on me on the phone. you know. But luckily, it was before the time of social media, so he didn't know what I looked like, and and on top of it, he didn't get what he wanted. So it was, it was a moment. I was like, yeah,
Okay.
Puff called me and tried to strong on me. He ain't win though.
Ha ha ha. That is something. And then LaMonda Richard is a buddy of mine. I know her through we have a mutual friend. Yes. So when I was reading, I was like, oh my God, you never know who knows. So when you look at Aaron Magruder, who created the Boondocks, he also went to University of Maryland. I think he did go to University of Maryland.
I think you're right. And I did not know that. I didn't know him from Maryland. Malonda introduced him to me. And, I helped him with his first pitch of that that strip to a major network. Now, that the Boondocks is part of is just part of culture now.
Yes.
And everybody knows how much he used to rag on BET. He's called Deborah Leavell. And, he's like, BET stood for Black Exploitation TV. He was killing us. And people would ask him, would he ever work with BET? And I would say, no, I would never work with them. Well, I happen to know that wasn't true because I actually walked him in and introduced him to the executive vice president and helped him do this pitch. And the vice president liked it. And, I thought it was dope. I was like, he's dope, man. This is edgy. But we didn't know how to do we didn't know how to do cartoons. Like we didn't know what we were going to do with that. So he said, yeah, we don't do that here. So it didn't happen. That was one of the few times that something didn't happen that I was really, really disappointed about. But he went on to do his thing, and it became what it became. But there's a little don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. His good story is he would have never worked with BET. When I happen to know, me and Malonda know that ain't true.
Right, because I was reading in the book, I was like, oh wow, and then when they they turned it down, weren't interested. But you said,
I mean, again, it was one of those. Sometimes you're ahead. I mean, you're too far ahead to see the full race. So we were ahead of the game. He was ahead of the game. He had an idea that was ahead of our capability to support it. So Jeff Lee, who's again the executive vice president, Jeff Lee, he said, "Hey, I like what you're doing here. We just don't do cartoons here. We don't. It's not what we do." And I'm like, well, none of what we do here was what we did until we did it. Because we were making it up. Like BET, when we hit the ground, we were making it up. We were coming up with shows from the street. We made that up on the fly. We said, hey, let's go shoot something. We came back, it was hits from the street. And then later we had Cedar's World, which was groundbreaking, and it was a cartoon.
Right.
So, we just didn't know, and he didn't know, but,
So let me ask you this. When you saw the Boondocks, when it got its deal and everything, what was your response when you saw it?
I wasn't surprised because I saw it coming. He got a moment when they were putting it on the Source, and then he got his AP, and everybody kept saying it was too edgy for it to be syndicated. Once it got syndicated in the newspapers as a cartoon, I knew it was over. But again, he had an amazing cast, which I wonder had he gotten his first opportunity with BT, if the cast would have been the same, because we weren't spending a lot of money at that point. So I don't know if they would have signed off on Witherspoon and some of the key people whose voices really help make the show work. So I don't know. I mean, but I wasn't surprised. I mean, again, when I first saw it, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. It was so. His artwork was amazing. The storylines were so, in culture. So I could see it working off the top. I just, I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised at all.
Okay, good. So with with Born Americans, I remember they were like hot in like the mid 90s. They was like, and especially at DC Maryland radio. So it was just on all the radio stations, and you actually would see them around. So whether it was the radio station, they were in the streets, if you will. And is that a relationship that you all still keep in contact and all those things?
Yeah, for me, they were like sons to me, because when they started, Ed Lee was 18, about to turn 19, and Notch was just graduating. They were both graduating high school. Notch was graduated from St. John's College High School here in DC. And interestingly enough, had an engineering scholarship. But his dad said, because the deal started happening when he was supposed to be going to school, but we needed him to go on the road. And the dad, you can take the scholarship, or you on your own. So
them makers, they wasn't playing. You're gonna get that education.
And the irony of the whole thing is as I found out later, his dad was also a musician who didn't make it, ended up being an architect and working in engineering stuff. So he saw his dream didn't happen and had to go work and be made a decent living as a architect, et cetera. And he thought his son choosing the music thing, which was his passion. Don't ever try to get in the way of somebody and their passion. That's something I learned. But it's a theme that ties out the book. Like my dad, one of the reasons he was the person he was because he was supposed to go on the road. Music was his passion. That was really what he was probably meant to do, and he didn't get to do it.
Yeah.
And then after that, he was a bitter person, and he was angry.
I read that. Yeah.
He was resentful of other people's success, and as I got older, I realized, oh, now I understand. So me seeing that with Notch, I was like, wow, this is like a repeat. Like, and I was on the other side of it this time. I'm like, dude, you got to do what your passion is. You can always go back to school, or we can figure it out. But you can't. These moments when they happen, you can't replicate them sometimes. So
that's true.
It was big, and as you know, also in the story, they were a big part of the whole Shaggy chapter because Americans, you don't get It Wasn't Me, and I'm not going to go any further into that, but read it. It's we're really shocked and about that piece, to how they were instrumental in that movement that ended up selling 10 million plus records for Shaggy. And no artist to go to go diamond.
Wow. So you've worked with, and I remember in the 90s and it makes sense now with Chucky, because I remember, and Billy, like In Vogue used to be in DC all the time. Was it Chapter 3? What is Southeast? I was in DC, so I was able to go to the Southeast. But I remember it was always on the radio. They're going to be at the over in Southeast at Chapter 3. And I was like, oh my God, are they from here? Because it was all the time. So it makes sense, right? Because he was in the DC area going to, I guess, finish school then. But that is just amazing. So even with all of the challenges that you had as a youth coming up and what you experienced, the wonderful thing is that you were still able to come through, right, to the other side, to break through. And how was that transitioning from the experiences that you had with your family living, domestic violence, and all of those things to make that shift and you change your mindset?
Listen, I'm Mary Lawson's son, and my mom was not about it. One of the things in the book was like, she was dealing with what she was dealing with. The 60s, the 70s, it was a different world, and what women were able to do and what they thought they could do. But my mom was like, look, me and my children are going to be fine. We're going to leave the situation we're in, and we're going to figure it out. So my mom was a survivor. She was always an overcomer. She was always trying to figure out ways to put us in the best position to succeed. Like my brother, who was a basketball phenom, but my dad wasn't around, and he didn't make some of the earlier basketball leagues like his friends were making. My mom would be out on the playground with him, working on his shot, passing him the ball.
I love it.
He ended up being like, the year after he didn't make a team, he ended up the next year being the captain and being one of the guys that everybody thought was going to go to the league. Had he not gotten injured in college, who knows what might have happened. But he was that, and that's how my mom was. She was there. She's like, I'm ride or die.
Right.
We don't give up. We survive. And for me, our situation was always, it was just a space to pass through. It wasn't the end all be all. It was a place I was passing through. I always knew there were bigger things. I didn't necessarily know what they were. I wasn't like Billy was going to be a star immediately. No, I was just like, I'm smart enough. My mom is working as hard as she can to make sure that we have an opportunity to go to college. And once I do that, I know, without a shadow of a doubt, I'm going to be able to be successful. I didn't know what that was going to be. I thought it was going to be STEM. I thought I might be NASA or something. Look, I got accepted to MIT, Cornell, Virginia Tech, all of those schools on engineering scholarships, but I went to University of Maryland, one, because they gave me the most money, and they had a great engineering program on top of it. So I knew I was going to do something. And my mom just, built survivors. Now, had that not been the case, a lot of the stuff that I've gone through possibly taking me down. But I'm like, just we'll keep on grinding. You know, we'll get up and fight another fight tomorrow. So.
Yeah. So let me just say, he is smart. He is intelligent. All of he is accepted too. Keep move over just a little bit so you can get in the center of the camera. So
Okay, sorry.
can see you. Yep,
I'm leaning back like we all know.
No, you're
On the
fine. I
couch.
just wanted to make sure so they can see and hear everything that you're saying. And here's the thing: if people don't understand, and that's how I want you to be comfortable, just want to see you on the couch with your feet up and everything, your popcorn and your clean white socks. So Baltimore, for people that don't know, Baltimore is a tough city. You know what I'm saying? So to really, and your mother is from the same tribe as my mom. My mom just turned 80. So my mom raised 6 children.
Mm-hmm.
And so just knowing that, hey, we're going to push through, we're going to make it happen. So I understand it. And also that's a generation of silent generation. They don't speak about a lot. So some things you don't know, you just, as you going through life, you figure, you're like, oh, that's what happened. You know what I'm saying? It's like all of the peeling the onion and everything is coming up. So that is awesome. So what are the things that you're working on currently and the things that you're working on in the future? Are you looking to do any more television projects? Because I have an awesome idea.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely still doing TV projects. I just launched 2 new companies. Well, my company Spartacus Media, which is, my IG is I am Spartacus Media. That was
they wrote me a check too.
Yeah. Yeah. I started Spartacus Media years ago when because one of the things I also do is I do voiceover. So when I was at BET, I started honing that skill and realized it was something I could use. Awesome. And I needed to be able to build stuff outside of BET. So Spartacus Media I started that just really as to house my voiceover work and some radio production, but mainly like writing and producing spots. So somebody wants a spot, I'll voice it, I'll mix the music, I'll add sound effects, blah, blah, blah. We build Spartacus Media. So I started that, but then also for just any, pickup projects that I have here and there. So Spartacus Media is still a thing. Obviously the book on the website, you can go on my Spartacus Media website to get the book. But in addition to that, a couple of my long time, cohorts, road dogs, my dude Eric Watson, who also went to Maryland, it's a Q from Maryland, and my buddy Martin Davis is an Alpha from Maryland. Martin and I are both Alphas, so there's 2 Alphas and a Q from Maryland. A lot of those University of Maryland connections have lasted this whole time and out. So we have a company called Chem Lab Productions, and Eric and I have Chemistry Productions, so the KEM Chemistry. KEM led Keith Eric Martin.
I like that.
And then I still am very, very active in my my management company, which I started simultaneously with the BET path. So Walker Entertainment, or W Entertainment, with my good friend Kit Walker, who also went to Maryland. See all these Maryland connections.
I got a cousin, Keith Scroggins, that went to University of Maryland.
I know Keith Scroggins.
That's my cousin. On my mama's side. That's my bougie side.
Yeah, I used to it. So
cross their T's.
Yeah, they do. But the Walker Entertainment managed Born Americans, also managed Ananda. The other part, I can't leave out my boy John Hinkson, who did not go to Maryland, but he's also an Alpha. But the 3 of us, John, Kit, and myself, that was Walker Entertainment, had Born Americans, Ananda Lewis, and several other folk along the way, including our current artists, lots of jazz artists, Ronald Boo Hinkson, who's a #1 musician out of St. Lucia, and my boy Philip Doc Martin, who's a #1 charting jazz artist. He lives in Maryland as well, so he's a saxophonist, amazing saxophonist. So all of those things are still happening. We're still working on music. Chem Lab is about to do some big things. I can't speak of right now, but some very, very big things on the way. Chemistry and Walker Entertainment are working on some reality shows. What I didn't mention, reality show, I got to say this. Everybody knows the Basketball Wives franchise. Well, the first show that involved Jackie Christie and this whole format of Basketball Wives was created by myself, my partner Eric, and our other friend Maurice. It's called Committed to Christie's. So we started the Basketball Wives franchise, really. It was signed. We got a deal with VH1 and then HDNet and then et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we were the first ones to do a show like that. So when you see this billion-dollar franchise now, it's another one of those opportunities. We're a little too early to the party. People couldn't see the vision yet. They waited a year or two, and then Shawnee O'Neal came in with bigger bucks and more connections. Grabbed Jackie as well, who's still on the show, and will tell you to this day that the reason that she's on a Basketball Wives show is because of Crossover Films, which was our company, and me, Eric, and Maurice. Like, we started that whole thing. So yeah, we still have other stuff that are, that we are planning to launch in this next year, which is one of the reasons that I'm able to. Well, I'm saying that I probably won't be back. In a corporate environment. It'll be my entrepreneurial situations, production companies, et cetera. We'll still do work with BET, et cetera. But big things to come. So that's all I can say right now, because there's some deals in play, and the lawyers will kill me.
I understand, and congratulations in advance. And I will say this, because one thing with reality television, like when it was first coming out, it's all about what you align yourself with. Everything is always about money, but relationships, your integrity, and all. And just knowing the interactions I've had with you, and then knowing your sister, so I know that how you align and what you're very. I believe that you're very like, do I want to align myself to do that? Do that math be mathing with me? You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes that math don't be mathing.
No, for real. You like the check nice, but at the end of the day, when I wake up, am I happy with me? When I look in the mirror, am I pleased with me and my family name and all of that? So that matters.
Yeah, integrity is huge with me. I mean, we've walked away from some big deals just because, like, I'm not selling my soul to do this. Like, there are certain things I know I'm going to be okay. Like I said, I'm Mary Lawson's son. We're going to be good.
Yes.
She's equipped me, and my life experience have equipped me with the ability to survive. And at a certain point, like, you still gotta go to bed with yourself. You gotta look at yourself in the mirror. And there's definitely been opportunities, and definitely times where there were big deals we could have just sold our soul to do. Like, as I like to say, sometimes you got to scrape your face for a deal, but we just weren't willing to sacrifice our integrity, to put out something that we wouldn't be proud to put our names on. And I say we, because I'm speaking of me, I'm speaking of Eric, I'm speaking of Kid, I'm speaking of Martin and John, all of the folks that have been part of my journey, and we're just not willing to. We haven't been willing to do it. And in some of the things we did where we chose not to make money, including the Ananda thing, like we did that first deal, we didn't take our feet.
Now I saw how you said you focused on the bigger picture. You were for the long part of it.
Now my partners wanted to kill me, but I said I think at the end of the day, like, we're making money because we were all making good money. What we thought was good money, looking back, wasn't that good. But we were making way more money than she was making, and this is our first date. Like, she needs to be able to survive and not be stressed out. And we're gonna create other stuff outside of here, which we did. But when the big check came, it went to the big Jewish company and not us. So, but I still don't regret the decisions we made, because we made them with our integrity in mind, with a bigger picture in mind. Even the Chucky thing, like, Chucky was charging me $500 a track. We paid him $2,500 a track and gave him 5 tracks. And then he said, "Hey, that's not enough. Give me some more." So that didn't work. But still, it's still about integrity. It's like the quality of work. What am I willing to stand on?
That's right.
If you don't stand on something, you'll fall for anything. Blah, all of those cliches. But it's true. Like, I live with myself. All the relationships that I've built over this time are the reasons that I'm here, and the reason I can write a book like this and not have to worry about somebody trying to sue me. Because, like, everything in this book is true.
It's true.
Everything
you got the receipts before they said receipts.
I got the receipts. And it's a story of how you can come out of a situation like I did in Baltimore and still make it to your destination, even though it's not the path that some other folks might have taken. So I know that there's a bigger picture, there's a bigger mission for me, and I'm going to keep on trying to do that. It's like, I got to make my mom proud. Every time I wake up, I'm looking at my mom. We we're still good. And I could feel her smile. I'm like, all right, you know, you might have a hiccup here, had a hiccup recently, like here, this leaving the BET situation was junky. But you know, I'm still good. I'm still good. I'm still moving forward. Everything
and
is
sometimes
everything.
we have to close doors in order for other opportunities to come up, to make
Close the door
ourselves
to see this
available.
window open. There's a window open over here. This door closed. I'm going out this window. So.
Right, absolutely, because we have to make room. We have to make room for the things that we aspire to. So if we're full, the universe can't support us because we don't have room for it. So we have to say, hey, let me release this and be okay and trust that I'm going to be okay. And it may not look the way we want it to, or feel, the smell, all of that, but just trust the process. So that's awesome. Keith, what would you offer to, because the industry has changed. The music has changed. Like, say integrity, hold on to your integrity. But what will you offer to artists, management, producers? What advice would you give to them at this moment?
Well, the advice piece, the biggest thing I'll say is never let anybody put a timeline on your success. Like your path is your path. Like my path hasn't been straight. I've been blessed enough to be able to create a living for my family and myself where I'm comfortable, but it hasn't been straight. I mean, obviously I should have been an engineer. I should have been at, NASA or something right now, but here I am having on my resume, the ability to say I was a senior vice president at a TV network, at BET and Paramount, like senior vice president. Who would have seen that coming? But don't let anybody put a timeline on your success. Your path is your path. And then also, once you figure out what it is that you are here to do, when your passion is driving you to do something, it is incumbent upon you to try to figure out how to do that thing. That's the story of my dad. That's the story with Notch. That's the story with a lot of other folk. I've been saying lately, the two most important days of your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. So, when you find out why you're here and you start doing something else other than that thing, that's on you. But when you figure it out, now you're like, oh, okay, now I got to do this thing because, the last thing you want is your journey to end with you being put in the ground. And that's the end of the story. You need to leave some stuff that lives beyond you, to have an impact in the world that's beyond you. Whatever mission that you have on this thing, it has to be bigger than you. If it's creating wealth for your family, if it's creating, putting art in the world, if it's making a way for some other people to do some things, if it's opening doors from other people that do things that continue. I always say, pay it forward. There's a lot of people who have dealt with me that you like, even yourself, like, hey, listen, here's an opportunity, open this door, kick it out of there, and then bring.
Didn't even know me. Didn't even pandemic, and I was in the house doing video. Can you do it? Okay, let me do it like this. And I think that's the first time. That's the first time I ever did an audition with my phone.
Really?
I was like, how the fuck?
Well, listen, you had good people on your side. Like good people bring good people. Like so, that's Julie. When all you needed was Julie to say, hey, this is somebody who I think you could, tie together something, make a break for. And, you did the audition, it worked. We did the piece. I would have loved to be able to do more stuff. So, and the journey isn't over. So there's other things we're working on. So hopefully we'll realign on some other things down the road. So,
thank you. But that's great advice. I think that we're in a time where everything is a rush. And I think individually we have to pace ourselves. Because if we get caught up in the social media, you gotta do this, you gotta do this now, you gotta do this, you will injure yourself mentally, physically, emotionally. It's too much.
I'm gonna say this, and this is the last thing I'll say on that because it's something I have to say is, when you're on the ground, you never know how close you are to a major breakthrough until you're on the other side of the breakthrough, right? You don't want to stop 2 steps short of your blessing. Like you've been grinding, you've been putting this in, you just say, I just give up. And then the next day, you've been playing a lottery your whole life and you don't play this day the same numbers you played, and then it come out and it's a $60 billion.
Right.
The best story out of the book is the Bruno Mars story that I tell, how my wife's cousin worked with Bruno Mars before he was big. Like did everything for him, built, was pitching him. Nobody was signing him. They said he's too short. He doesn't, he needs to be in a group. And then he ran out of money and went back to Kansas because he had run out of money. About 3 months later, Nothing on You came out. And from that time on, Bruno Mars has been one of the biggest pop stars in the entire world.
And I love him.
Nobody knows who Mark Sands is. Nobody knows Mark, cousin Mark was out here. He was calling me, hey, listen to this guy. And I'm like, oh, dude, who is that? That guy's amazing. Him and Philip Lawrence, who worked with him. But the point of that is he stopped 2 steps short of his blessing. Like Tyler Perry could have stopped when he was living in his car. He's like, I ran out. This is it. But he kept on trying to push through that. And now he's, not like, Tyler got his own issues right now, but he's a billionaire. And he pushed through when he thought was the end. So, don't stop 2 steps short of your blessing. You never know how close you are until you're on the other side of it. So, don't be that person. That's a life of regret that you do not want. So
and look, I love Bruno Mars. From the time he came out, it's just his spirit is just like when I saw a picture with his mom, and she rest in peace, and his sister, I was like, I like him. I said, I'm like, and to me, I know him. We know each other. We the same height, probably.
Right. Listen, he's one of those persons when you look at him, and again, I hadn't met him until I actually saw him perform the song. But Mark had been calling me and sending me stuff, and I heard the voice. I was like, who the hell is that? That kid is amazing. He said, you think so? I said, yeah, you got something, dude. What are you doing with this guy? And he was just trying to figure it out. Just ran out of money. 2 steps short of his blessing. So,
but he still got it. Right? Wasn't it amazing that somebody was still pushing for him?
Yeah, I mean, well, Bruno got his. Unfortunately, Mark ain't in the business no more. So, he was the man behind the curtain in that case. Nobody ever knows what happened. His deal ran out and all that. He didn't get any benefits from it, but he pushed for years and didn't get any benefits. So
Bruno hit the kills to Kansas and came through.
Yeah, man.
So let me say this. The man behind the curtain. I didn't even take it like that. I took it as everybody, but you behind the scenes. That's what you do. Do you prefer behind the scenes, or does it matter to you? He 10 years old, and he been in business for 30 years.
I have been more comfortable being behind the scenes. Doing stuff like this is great for me because it pushes me out of my comfort zone. Like I'm getting better at doing this. And as I like to say, and as one of my mentors, Louis Carr, always says is, you got to push into spaces where you're uncomfortable in order to grow. And if you stay comfortable, you stop growing. Like even when you grow physically, your joints start hurting when you get uncomfortable. If I go to the gym and lift weights, I lift until I get sore. I come back the next time I go past that. But these opportunities put me in places where I'm uncomfortable. I was really a shy kid. I told you I was a STEM kid. I was a kid, and you'll appreciate this as a comedian. Don't clown me. I was a kid who was in school with glasses with tape down the middle. I had pocket protectors. I actually broke my glasses one time too many, and my mom said she wasn't buying them again. I had it. The lens was broken, and I glued it together with crazy glue. I didn't realize the fumes were still there. Don't ever try this at home. I would burn my eyes out. But I had glasses with a lens that had a hairline fracture in it. I had tape on the frame. That was me. I was not a guy to be out in front of folks talking about anything. I was super shy. My friends used to tell me, "You're weird." I'm like, you know what? There's a time and place for everything. Life has a funny way of evening things out. But I wasn't comfortable out talking in front of people. So for me to be doing the type of thing that I'm doing now is amazing if you look back where I came from. But I'm used to being on the other side telling people how to do this. So if what you don't hear is my mental producer going, all right, sit up straight, move to the other side. Make sure you don't say and ah. If you feel like a coming on, pause and slow down. So all of those things I'm doing that I usually do on the other side, now I'm doing it and trying to make it not sound like I'm thinking. So
it's two things.
Uncomfortable.
It's two things. So when you talked about the glue, the glass, your mother wasn't buying you any more glasses. So your mom's first name is Mary.
Yeah.
So my mother's name is Geraldine. Marys and Geraldines, they don't play them different type of mothers.
Geraldine, there you go.
Geraldine at 2 years old, that's laundry. That's like you're supposed to have 6 kids with a name Geraldine. But my mother, I was in private school. My mom had brought me some penny loafers. $72 or $76 from Bamberger's Macy's cousin. Okay.
You real Baltimore.
But that's Newark, New Jersey, Baltimore cousin. You understand? So kids, we put our shoes on and we don't use I use it now
Yeah.
what's the name for your shoe, and you twisting your foot, and I
The
busted
shoe
because
on
I had
you.
to seam the shoe on. I
Ooh.
busted, and my mother was like, she wasn't buying me no more shoes for the year. Hunty,
And penny loafers weren't cheap.
$72 in the 80s. Okay.
Yeah, they weren't
And you
cheap.
had a
Yeah.
penny in each of them, please.
Yeah.
I went into Woolworth or McCrory and bought the thickest needle I could find. I could not get the burgundy thread for the shoe. I took that black thread, and do you understand? I sewed that shoe myself with thread because I knew she meant it. But the next year, I got saddle shoes because I was on the Pepsi and I was trying to be a cheerleader.
Yeah.
But it's funny that
go.
you say that also about the uhs and the ums, because I actually started Toastmasters last year, and that's one thing they talk about. So to help you with your speaking, and when you talk about being a STEM person and being in entertainment and having to present and put deals together and sell and go to meetings, so that's a big stretch for you. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that became luckily, I've always been a good storyteller, even though I wasn't a person to be out in front. So being a good storyteller is key to a lot of this. Like sales is key to pitching yourself to other folk. When I sold the show to the Christie show to VH1, we had this whole stuff. I didn't have a reel yet. I had some documents that had papers and all this. And Eric will tell you, my partner Eric will tell you this. I went in and had a plan. And I started talking to Michael Hirschhorn, who was executive producer at the time. And I just threw it away. I just started telling the story. And he was so engaged. He said, "This is the best pitch I've ever had." Wow. I was like, wow. He goes, "All right, when can we start?" I'm like, "Oh my God, he bought that?" I didn't show him any. I didn't give him the PowerPoint. None of that. It just had to be a good storyteller. So, a lot of it is just about being able to connect with people and tell a good story that's engaging and make people more interested in working with you. So, I've just been working on trying to be a good storyteller, and that's helped me throughout my career at BET, being able to tell stories with shows, with commercials, selling, advertisers on ideas that I want them to spend $1.5 million with me, whatever. I'm like, hey, this is going to be great. Watch. And luckily we've been able to uphold our end of the deal. But it starts with being a great storyteller, and you can't and argue your way through that if you're trying to be a good storyteller. It sounds like you're making it up.
You got to know it, right? You got to make me believe it.
Right.
You got to make me believe. Well, awesome. Thank you, Keith Lawson, for your and coming by. Make sure you go get the book.
Yes.
The Man Behind the Curtain. It's on Spartacus.com.
Yeah, it is on Amazon. It is anywhere you buy books. But if you go to my website, iamspartacusmedia.com. You can order directly from there, or you can order from Archway Simon & Schuster. Simon & Schuster was gracious enough to believe in me and support this project. So yeah, you can find it everywhere. I prefer if you get it from the website because it comes directly from me and cuts out some of those royalty thieves. But anyway, you can get it. Anyway, you can get it though. You can definitely, if you can't find it, the quick and easy is Amazon. It's on Amazon. You type in my name or you type in the Man Behind the Curtain.
You see the name.
There it is. Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Kat. Kat is on it. I appreciate you.
Because we be doing it over here, okay?
The back room is important. Kat is the woman behind the curtain right now.
That's right. But let me tell you, she can work that. She can get in front of that curtain and she can work you and promote you.
I believe it. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thanks, Tammy.
And I just want to tell you, all of the team that's in the background, all his security, they're backstage, and I love that he's here, but he has his team in the back supporting him.
I do have the team.
They have not had to send me a private message yet. It's like, don't say that. And answers, they ain't sent me nothing. So I want to say that I done well.
Yeah, it's great. It's easy to talk to you, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity, this platform to support my latest thing. And look out for stuff coming from Chemistry and Chem Lab. Big things in the making. So just stand by. You'll see it. In the interim, we're gonna keep on grinding this Man Behind the Curtain deal. So
yes, we appreciate
that's been on the bestsellers list. Come on.
Okay. We appreciate you. Congratulations. All the best to you, Keith Lawson, and your team and everything. And we got to talk. We got to set up a Zoom meeting because I got some ideas that be brewing in my Sagittarian spirit.
Okay. Let's do it.
Yes. So thank you. And everyone, thank you so much for watching in real time and later on time. You can always catch it on my Facebook page, YouTube, my YouTube channel, Queen Aishah, QueenAishah. And I want to leave you all with this, the Queen Aishah's inspirational soul food, which ties into everything Mr. Lawson spoke about today. The only thing worse than being blind is having sight, but no vision. That is by Helen Keller. So have an amazing rest of your week. Celebrate yourself, breathe, love on yourself. Go get man behind the curtain. Be great. Peace and power. Queen Aishah. I know dope people. Do you?
Yeah, you do.
Do you? Do you?
Yeah, you
Peace
do.
and blessings. Thank you so much, Keith. See you soon.
Appreciate you, Queen.
Thank you, Julie, Jay, Trez, all y'all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Peace. Thank you, Katonya.